The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 7th day of April, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Carla Zul. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you're watching online, share the link. If you're on Facebook, start a watch party. If you're on Twitter, retweet it. If you're watching on Channel 82 or listening on the Full 100 radio station, call someone up. Let them know the show is on. Get the conversation out there to your network. And don't forget to like and engage with us. Another good one today as another government minister. Yeah, they like us now, folks. The Honorable Tinee Furbert is stopping by to discuss her ministry. The Daily Play is a say it, don't sing it. So we're guessing a song today, Carla. We're guessing a song. We're guessing a song, but you don't have to sing that song.
We'll see.
This is if you think the week before last, that's what Friends were for, was easy. I've served you up a hot meal, and if you don't eat it, man, you are going hungry.
Looking forward to it. I haven't even had breakfast or lunch, so I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. I think you'll get this. Well, obviously, we sometimes plan to discuss certain things on this program, and then things happen and change the entire direction of the conversation. And it's never, props to Trevor Lindsay for always being on the scene, but honestly, it's one of those things when Trevor goes live. I don't know if anyone else feels like this. It's like, you get this oh no feeling, right? And that's not bad on Trevor. It's just, what we become accustomed to in Bermuda is you just kind of have an idea that, and it's how many people feel about the news. Whenever it's news, it's bad, and it doesn't have to be. And that's why this show exists, because our job is to discuss the news rather than report it. And a lot of the stuff we want to discuss in ways that can help our community. Unfortunately, Trevor on the scene last night of what is now a murder, and very sad. I mean, this is 2021, and this is almost, I remember we used to be shocked and upset and some concerned, and it just seems like a fabric of our society.
Yeah, I went to bed early last night, say 11:30, my UK time, and something told me to get up around 4, and it was 4:37, and I received this image, and it just triggered me. It really bothered me, and I couldn't sleep. So I don't care what it is. I don't think that a person's, I'm not going to say last moments, because, of course, with the rumor mill, I don't know if that was a bike accident or it was the murder victim, but either way, nobody needs to see their child, because that's someone's child, brother, husband, whatever, splayed out on the road like that. People, I'm honestly tired of hearing that's the way of the world today. I've been a journalist for 20 years. And it will never, ever sit well with me to see someone's picture like that being displayed. They've done it with murder victims and all of that prior. I just don't think it's a good thing. And the excuse of, well, it's just the way that the world is today. Let's take some personal culpability. If I receive it, it doesn't mean I have to forward it. And I'm not knocking anyone on a personal, because this goes on every time it's something. No, but I just think it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's sad. And before we go any further, sincere condolences to the family, friends, and just the entire community, to the family of the person who was lost. I think what Carla's touching on is we can't keep making excuses for insensitive behavior, and insensitive behavior being what she's speaking about is, someone taking a picture and sharing it. And I said to Carla on numerous occasions off air, one of the things I used to always say when we were fighting conscription is, we can't um, act like something's wrong once it happens to us. It has to be wrong long before it reaches you, right? It shouldn't have to be your family member or friend um, for it to for you to take it more seriously and have some sympathy. We shouldn't have had to live during the transatlantic slave trade to know that slavery is wrong, right? You shouldn't have to experience bad things to understand that bad things. And I know bad is subjective, but we shouldn't have to do it. So I guess the question is, how do we change that? It is embedded, it seems like, in our society. We can talk about it after every time it happens, but how do we change that? Is it going to take, I mean, to credit to the government of Bermuda, I believe, just passed legislation about revenge porn. Is this something that needs to go along those same lines?
Can it change? I don't think it will, because there are so many people who just are of the mindset of it's this new norm, it's the acceptable thing to do. I remember when people used to pass away, and specifically in Bermuda, and people would post before, for example, family members found out, and the argument would be for some is that this is just how it is, and they would say young people, they just express different. But it's not just young people doing this, right? So when we stop, I am a mother of two sons. I have a daughter and two sons. There was somebody's son laying on that ground, right? Going back to last night. Relative, a god brother, whatever. Who wants to see that image? And I just think that people need to stop and think about, what if it would, because here's the thing, if it was their family member, they would be effing and jaffing and carrying on and want to fight whoever they thought was at the scene. But when it's somebody else's, all right.
Mhm.
It
But
really bothers me.
I think, again, my question stands though. My question stands. The government just changed the law. Didn't change the law, made a law for revenge porn. If is legislation and policy the way to go to change the behaviors that have become the norm? Like, we can't just say, oh, if it happens to our family, we're going to be upset. I mean, I think that's fair game. I think that will happen. But I mean, does it require legislative change by the government for people to respect the privacy of others in this manner?
That and the execution of, let's just say, police to do the investigation. Like someone, I always feel, if anything, someone needs to be made an example of. Once they see that that can happen, then people might be like, oh, maybe, oh, let me not do that. Until someone's brought before the courts, if that was to be enacted, then I think people would look at it differently.
Yeah, and I think you have a point, but convicting people for murders hasn't stopped other people from murdering. But in fairness, they've seen so many people not be brought before the courts for so many murders, and that's another conversation, because I think it's time that we have another police officer on this show very soon, because I see something happening, and I think that the police need to answer some questions. And this is not an attack on the police, but there are a lot of conversations that Carla and I have been a part of that have not come on the air in regards to how families have feel about the police as it pertains to their loved ones and the investigations and so on. There's been claims by some people made off air to us about how the police have put certain people's anniversary deaths up and not other people's anniversary deaths. We don't know how that works. So this isn't an attack on the police. It's questions that we get, and Carla and I are not involved with the police, so we can't answer them. But I think it's time that we got to this place, because it's easy for us to sit here and ask the question of the Minister of Education and state that the public simply does not trust the government. So why should they trust the government with public education? We can ask these same questions to the police and ask them, the public does not trust you to do a job. To quote one person directly. And Carla, tell me if I'm getting the quote right or wrong. The quote, they're so busy chasing you know what that they don't have time to find the murderer for my son's investigation. And end quote. And I can't remember exactly which person said that to us, but someone said that. My not defense, but response to that is, police do a lot of work that we don't know about. And then what happens? There's someone before the court. And so my way of keeping people calm and understanding that things are being done is pretty much letting them know that the police have a job to do. It truly does not happen in the time most of us want it to happen. But there have been some cases that have come before the courts that you probably forgot about. Might not be your family, but just I can't tell you how to feel. It's your loved one, but we just have to be very considerate. But yes, we do, and we would like to have the police back on to answer some of these questions that we receive off air, and so that we can, as a community, find a way to solve these problems. Because I hear Carla and I understand her, but I'm probably 5 places away from where you all at. And what I mean by that is we shouldn't be having a conversation about people laid out on the ground, whether it's an accident or a gun victim. No, the root that leads to that's what we need to discuss. And that's no fault of the police or technology. That's the fault of something more deeply rooted in our society. So, wow. I want to switch gears because definitely a lot to discuss. And we do have the Minister Tinee Furbert, Minister of, don't tell me, Social Development and Seniors. I get it right, Carla? Oh, I'm getting this done. All right.
I may keep him after all.
Before we go to the Norwegian thing real quickly, so I didn't realize how many people really want to see me experience bad things.
I saw that yesterday. I actually felt bad for you.
Finally, someone, some I guess a couple of people felt sorry for me, so I got $100 to save me. But I could not believe that everyone who had donated was donating for me to sink. And I mean, do you all really not like me that much? I mean, I know I'm not the most lovable guy, but really?
What's that saying? You reap what you sow, right?
My goodness. I
was dying when I saw that screenshot.
Yeah, Carla, I mean, so, if that's what you all want, that's what you'll get. It's all about giving you what you want. But I just thought that we had a better relationship than that.
I just want, this is the one time, and I hope that your wife is watching. I hope that we can have live video footage of you having to sink, you jumping in a pool in Florida. I want to see it. I don't want to hear, oh, I did it, a little toe with low wet feet or something. I want to see you plunge.
Well, it won't
So, I want real footage with a timestamp, because I don't want it from when you was last in Bermuda in 1967 and you're trying to use old footage to pretend you went swimming. No, I want to see you jump in that pool with your armbands on, holding your nose. Okay?
Who do you think?
Let's have it, Nikki.
Armbands and holding my nose? No. This is not Carla Zul on this side. Dr. Seaman says, I mentioned bike accidents yesterday. We have accepted the change of what was social normality. What are we teaching our children? Yeah, it's different. Janae Pereira Edness says Bermudians have the tendency of always wanting to be first to break bad news. Well, that's how some news agencies actually became of what they are. But I think, as Teresa says, that's most media. The problem is a little to no ethics anymore in journalism.
Don't get me started on the ethics word.
Kathy Brumby says, that is so sad, Jamal. Get your armbands by the sound of it. No, I don't need them. Well, on journalism, I want to apologize. I think it was Renee Charlene Simmons yesterday. So neither of us were right. I actually did speak to the editor of the RG. So yesterday, I stated that the entire what you find in the paper, like the physical paper, is not always online. That's not technically true. It's not accessible online unless you have a subscription to the RG. So it is online, but it's not accessible to everyone unless you have an RG subscription. So that is what the editor had told me regarding that. All right. Carla, I think we should go and do the news and then take a break and then come back with the minister, Tinee Furbert. How's that sound?
Whatever you want, Mel. I'm here. We're co-pilots. You're the pilot, and I'll just, slide on
let's
through.
take a quick news break. Then we'll be taking a commercial break and be back with the minister, Tinee Furbert.
At approximately 10:30 last night, police and EMTs were dispatched to a firearms incident in the area of Ord Road and Triborough No. 2 Warwick after residents reported hearing multiple gunshots. Upon arrival, officers found a 37-year-old man with a gunshot wound to the chest. Officers and EMTs immediately began life-saving measures at the scene, and the victim was subsequently transported by ambulance to King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, where sadly he succumbed to his injuries a short time later. No information on the identity of the victim will be provided until all next of kin have been notified. Officers from the forensic support unit processed the scene, and an investigation into this matter has already begun. Anyone who may have information about this incident, no matter how insignificant you feel it may be, is asked to call Detective Sergeant Jason Smith of the Serious Crime Unit on 717-0864. You can also call the main police number 295-0011 or the Independent and Confidential Crime Stoppers number 800-8477. World Health Day is celebrated every year on the founding day of the World Health Organization. Established in 1950, this event has a theme each year to draw attention to a current world health issue. The WHO puts together regional, local, and international events on this day related to that theme. On this day, you may take some extra steps to care for your health. Consider getting a gym membership and starting a diet, or starting to eat healthier. Turning to weather, the temperature in Bermuda is expected to reach a high of 67 today. Porto, Portugal will see a high of 70, and Leeds, UK, a high of 43. And don't forget, our cheeseless pizza lover is being held hostage, but only until April 10th. Shall we save him or shall we sink him? You decide, but either way, let's contribute to a worthy cause and participate in the annual Bermuda Sloop Foundation's fundraising event, Pirates of Bermuda. Visit www.bermudasloop.org for further details. That's your Daily Hour news break.
Cheeseless pizza. Have you become the queen of nicknaming Jamel or something?
I put a little bit of you, a different part of you in there every day.
We're gonna take a quick break.
Am I lying? Am I lying?
No. All right, popcorn, cracker jack, whatever the name was, yes, or whatever. All right, we have the movement moment with Tamara Denal as well today. I forgot to mention that. And then we'll take a commercial break, and the minister's coming to talk with us as well.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
Nature's Path Organic are a family business, major proponents of the organic method of food production with decades of experience in the field, and have diversified their interests focusing on animal welfare and children's education in that realm. Hence the introduction of Enviro Kids cereal made to the exacting standards we expect and benefiting their cause. Saving animals one breakfast at a time. 1% of sales goes towards protection of animals and their habitats. We're featuring Enviro Kids organic gluten-free Gorilla Munch cereal. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. She's Carla Zul. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindos, and our friends over at Channel 82, where you can also watch this and many other locally produced shows if you have One Communications cable. We'll show the movement moment directly following the minister today. But without further ado, let's bring in the Minister of Social Development and Seniors, Minister Tinee Furbert. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I had to put on my my headpiece, but if I'm clear, we're good.
As long as we don't echo, we should be good. But look, thank you for coming. Always a pleasure having government ministers stop by. But speak to us a bit about what exactly is the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors, for those who don't know.
Sure, I can speak to the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors, which was made a portfolio after the general election in, oh my God, time flies so fast.
Yes.
In the last general election. So I became a minister in October. And so Social Development and Seniors is a portfolio in which we have the opportunity to address let me start with the mission statement, which is to protect all individuals during their lifetime and facilitate their well-being. And it's a big area which encompasses, improving the well-being of persons so that they can reach a level of personal success. And so that we're also making sure that we're keeping our eye on those who are at risk or disadvantaged persons in our community, as well as older adults, disabled, and the youth. So I'm quite thankful that the Premier saw fit, excuse me, to do a portfolio which encompasses social development and seniors. But the departments which fall under this ministry is Aging and Disability Services, the Department of Child and Family Services, the Charities Commission, and the Human Rights Commission. And we are responsible for many different acts. There are parts of the Children's Act of 1998, the Child Safeguarding Act of 2019, the Human Rights Act of 1981, the Charities Act of 2014, as well as the Charities Regulations. There's a Social Welfare Act out there back in 1971, and the Senior Abuse Registers Act. And so those are the acts which fall under this ministry. And it's really about protection and the safeguarding of all people in our community to make sure that they have access to their basic needs in the area of housing, shelter, food, work, education, jobs, money. So it encompasses that whole social development arena.
And tell me, I mean, you just kind of pretty much summed it up, but again, some people just ask questions and they're legit, but why is it necessary that we have this ministry? You mentioned the acts and just spoke about the opportunities for people, but why is it necessary to cover it in a ministry and have it under this umbrella? Sure.
It is definitely necessary. When we look at the protection of people, I mean, we go about our daily lives and we find ourselves sometimes in situations which we cannot get out of. And it could be many things around trauma related or family relationships. There has to be an area which is specifically looking out for the protection of children. So that's what this ministry is focusing in on. Because, I mean, I was listening to you talk earlier in regards to the postings on social media or the visual images. And, you know, what we cannot ever do is, what we try to do, I mean, we put legislation through to try to change persons' behaviors. But sometimes, I mean, when it's a moral behavior, it's very, you know, sometimes it's up to that individual to change. And so this ministry is important so that we're looking out for what services and support services are needed to make sure that, people take personal responsibility for their actions.
Indeed, indeed. If you have any questions for the minister or comments, feel free. We will get to as many questions. I know we at times don't, but I will definitely try to get to as many questions as we can today, Carla.
So, Minister, what are some of your priorities for you with your ministry overall?
Well, overall, Carla, I spoke about protection. So we have the Department of Child and Family Services, which puts a focus particularly on the protection of children. And what I would like to see develop is also the protection of adults. So you have vulnerable persons in our community, and particularly adults with disabilities or seniors that are facing any sort of hardship. A senior who's out there who may not have any children, who may not have any family who are looking out for them, persons who could be taking advantage of persons with vulnerabilities or seniors, and making sure that there is a support structure around that so that they are still have a sense of well-being. And so while we have this huge Department of Child and Family Services, the hope is to also expand upon that with persons with disabilities as well as adults and seniors. So that is, one of the areas in which we are looking to work towards. But then we also have initiatives through our throne speech, which we are working on. And a couple of those are the Children's Commission, which is the replacement of the Child Care Placement Board. And we're looking to give some oversight to that committee, to oversight to the Department of Child and Family Services. So it'll be an independent commission looking out for the rights and the protections of children, but we'll also have some independent functions by the way of litigation guardians. And then we are also looking, and the other exciting piece about the Children's Commission is making sure that we have representation of our youth on that committee. So looking to do a youth advisory panel who will also be focusing in on making sure that our children are knowledgeable about their rights and protection. As well as in the news, we've spoke about making sure that those children who are within the area of child and family services, that once they turn 18, that it's not just goodbye, you're left out on your own, that there's a support structure once you turn 18 outside of child and family services. So wanting to continue to give support to persons who turn 18. If you have an 18-year-old, or if you remember when you were 18, we weren't quite ready, or some were, but some are not quite ready to just go and tackle the world out on their own. And there still needs to be a support structure. And so we are looking to advance this to provide additional support to persons once they turn 18.
I love that. Like I absolutely, of everything is that I think, and that comes from me. I was volunteering at a homeless shelter when I was in graduate school. And when you start, they give you kind of what this thing is, an orientation, and explain that, a lot of situations people don't think of is once people turn 18,
yes,
if they're in foster homes, like they're literally out on their own. So, and I didn't even consider that for Bermuda.
Yes. So even if they're in residential treatment facilities, we have to remember that sometimes persons don't have family members that they can go to, or they don't have a support structure that they can go to assist them throughout that journey. And I think that that's very important, whether it's by choice or whether you just don't have that support system.
So you just mentioned basically about young people who age out of the foster care system. What are some in your time that you've had this ministry? What are some inadequacies that you feel the foster system has, and how does your ministry plan to address those?
The inadequacies, I can only go off of what people report. I the Department of Child and Family Services actually does do a survey, which they do give out to anyone who's using their services to fill out. And there's actually not too many bad reports, Carla, that I've heard of, but I'm sure if there's probably issues around communication. And, we have that issue of communication throughout any area of our lives. But as far as, there has been some concern raised in the community about us having to send persons overseas for additional therapeutic treatment. And I don't see that as that being a problem. There are many small jurisdictions that do the same thing. I mean, our number is very small at this current time. There are jurisdictions that are around the same size that have much higher numbers of persons who they are sending outside of their countries for intervention and treatment. But mainly, if I really haven't heard any concerns being brought to my attention. I'm not saying that they are not there, but it would probably be around, that communication factor. I just want to say hello to all the staff on the Department of Child and Family Services who do work very, very hard for the protection of our children. And families, wanting to keep families together. I know in our community, because I thought it at once, coming up, thinking about circumstances in which children would be taken away from their parents. And that is not the initial action that staff in the Child and Family Services would do. They would want to see that every family is functioning properly and that they have the support systems to help them to thrive and help to take care of their children. But there are some very real instances out there, Carla, in regards to child abuse, child neglect. Even parents out there who have mental illnesses, who are raising children. And that is concerning if at that time they are not well.
Mm-hmm. So, Minister, tell us about the National Senior Strategy and what does it entail, and ultimately how will it benefit seniors in Bermuda?
Well, we all know across many countries that the fastest growing population are those persons who are over the age of 65. It's not the biggest. Our biggest demographic of persons, particularly as it relates to Bermuda, is between the ages of 45 and 64. But the ages of 65 and over will be the fastest growing population group. And so it's important that we identify what needs are needed to be able to support a demographic of persons who are 65 and older. We have recently made legislation or changed legislation which falls in effect of government workers to increase the age of retirement to the age of 67. And so that is one thing that we have done. We have also recently changed legislation in regards to the age in which you have to renew your license. And so it's just making sure that we're staying on top of areas as it relates to aging. But the National Senior Strategy will look at all the areas which are applicable to persons who are over the age of 65. And it just helps us to stay on track in regards to what needs and services are needed for persons as we age. We are currently running a dementia care campaign in Bermuda because that area is quite topical. If you visit any nursing home, any residential facility, you will note that at least a little bit over 70% of the population that are within these facilities are people or persons with some sort of dementia-related condition. And so we are running a campaign right now for public awareness and education so that people know about dementia and how to cope with dementia and what sort of services are out there and what services will be needed.
Yeah, I've seen that campaign, and having obviously it being in my family, it's definitely something that I'm a fan of. So Thank you and your ministry for overseeing that. Kathy Brumby asks, what about protection as included in the Constitution as regards morality or lack thereof?
Yes, morality is a huge one. I think that definitely has to start in our homes. You know, again, talking about the sharing of visual images online, which is the what's topical in our discussions today, is when you saw that post on on your phone, or you see that post online, do you go back and you write, listen, that really wasn't appropriate, please don't do it again? And so I say that to say is that we have to make moral decisions, and we have to say things to people whom we know, to put them back in check, that we're not going to stand for that, and we have to put morality back in check. But no law or legislation is going to fully correct morality.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Another question coming in from Shika Reina. As it relates to vulnerable seniors, does the ministry have partnerships with the financial institutions to ensure that relatives/helpers cannot take advantage of seniors?
So that is a huge area which we are looking to beef up our seniors abuse legislation in regards to financial persons taking a advantage of seniors on a financial basis, or financial abuse. Even though that's in the legislation now, there still needs to be areas that need to be strengthened to make sure that persons are not taking advantage of vulnerable persons or seniors by way of financial abuse. But yes, people can be taken to court if they are found right now that they're taking advantage of a senior, whether it be physically, emotionally, or financially.
All right. Another question. Kay Williams says, has the ministry considered placing more intensive therapeutic services in the home of those with DCFS? Is that Department of Child Family Services involved? That's what DCF? Okay, just wanted to confirm.
Mm-hmm.
That is a licensed therapist provide intensive individual therapy, family therapy, parent coaching, behavioral services for children, etc., to assist those families that need more assistance who can't or won't attend community-based services.
So every child who's in the care of child and family services, they do have access to services. So psychological services, we have a whole budget allocated towards outside services in which somebody needed those services, that they can have the opportunity to get those intensive therapeutic services.
Okay. Carmen Mitchell Jones asks, what is in place for vulnerable persons that are young adults?
Again, I spoke to one of the areas in which we have to strengthen, particularly as far as legislation. And that is very a broad sort of statement. Vulnerable persons who are young persons, like I mentioned earlier, we have just gone through the child safeguarding legislation. There's a whole child safeguarding policy that is out there, and many committees around child safeguarding. There's also a Child Safeguarding Act, and we've actually put money or allocated money aside, particularly for children who experience child-on-child sexual abuse. So we've put money aside so that there can be therapeutic intervention available for child-on-child sexual abuse for not only the victim, but also the perpetrator. And so I'm quite pleased about that, because both parties, need assistance when it comes to coming through such trauma and abuse.
I want to go back to, if you don't mind, you stated that throughout the world, the growing population is seniors, right?
Mhm.
and this may not fall under your ministry, but obviously having the Minister of Education on yesterday, it would only make sense that we start preparing, children as far as education to be able to provide the services needed for the growing older population. Would that be something that can be falls under your ministry? Because we definitely, it looks like that's going to be a need in years to come. Yeah.
Yes, and the cabinet also has a committee. It's a social development committee, which many ministers of different portfolios come together, and we discuss social development issues. I do know that the Ministry of Education has a program for students, and I'm not going to get the correct title, but they do have a program for students, particularly in the area of the nurses assistant, where they can do their last years of high school within Bermuda College and get training, particularly to go into the area of nursing assistants, whether or not they want to stay in that field or they want to move on into the nursing profession. But there needs to be more roles or more positions or more areas of study as it relates available as it relates to our seniors.
Yeah, and I only say that, and it probably, folks, it just I observe while people talk, believe it or not, and I'm listening to you, and I'm just like, we keep talking about jobs and opportunities in Bermuda, and maybe when I was growing up, and I'm sure when you both were growing up as well, they pushed us towards hospitality or internet business and so on. And I just think there was an opportunity right after September 11th, I think it was, in the U.S. when they were telling people there were a lot of opportunities with nursing, and I never saw a huge push for nurses. But I think, just listening to you today, I think there should be a lot of opportunities, but we have to make sure that we offer the opportunities for people to provide what's to come. I just, it should be.
That is correct. And actually, if you study across the globe, there is a shortage of nurses all over the world. And so everybody's trying to fight for these positions. And there needs to be definitely a lot more focus of persons going into the area of nursing. I mean, if we look and study this pandemic and all the areas of healthcare and how they're being stretched and strained. And, while focus is going in on the COVID measures and this pandemic, there are still other health issues that are out there that have not gone away. And so what's happening, to these other areas. And so the importance of having persons within the healthcare industry is vital and very important.
Okay, we have another question from the audience. Tamara Richardson asks, does the ministry do anything with projections to anticipate what services will be needed as those currently 40 to 60 and have less children to manage their care? We have growing numbers of children with autism and other learning challenges who will not be as able to care for parents, which further impacts the coming issue.
Yeah, so the government, the Department of Statistics puts out, I was just trying to look for something. And all this information actually can be found on government's website. But the Department of Statistics does a housing and population census that gives us a lot of information. There's also the, let me see if I can find, the population and housing census gives us a lot of information about projections. There's also a population projection as well, which also gives us a lot of information about social issues as well. There are also different government departments that do individual strategies. There's something out there called the Provision of Funding, Financing, and Governance of Long-Term Services and Support for the Elderly in Bermuda. And so we do engage in lots of projects, projections, studies that are out there that help us to make decisions in regards to support services that are needed coming in the future.
And real quickly, before we let you go, where can people find all of this information again?
So all of this information is actually on the government website, www.gov.br. The majority of the information will probably be under the Ministry of Health or the Department of Statistics. But if you go in and you go into the search and you put in support services, seniors, housing, and population survey, census, you will see you'll see different areas that pop up in which you can find lots of information. Not many people go onto that government website, but there are lots of resources of tons of work that has been done over the years, in regards to Bermuda and projections for Bermuda.
Indeed. Minister Tinee Furbert, thank you so much for having this conversation. It's a very interesting and needed ministry.
Yeah, it's a heavy one too, as well. It can be a heavy one sometimes, hearing person's struggles. But I do believe that, there's always a way, there's always a way out of something. If you're able to, find the right support services, connect with the right people, and you believe within yourself that, there's going to be a way out. So
yeah,
I just, recently assisted with someone who was on the verge of being evicted. And that's a very real thing, because you want to be able to nip that issue in the bud right away, so that we're not producing a homeless or unsheltered sort of situation. That's a whole nother topic, Jamal, that we could go into in regards to the unsheltered and homelessness, because this ministry is also working on a homeless strategy as well. Because people see people on Front Street and they think that they're all homeless, and that's not actually the case. Sometimes people are just hanging out there, but there are many sort of situations around our whole island when we talk about the unsheltered.
Yeah, definitely. When we have you back sometime, be more focused on something. Obviously, it's a huge ministry, and so probably focus the conversation more on some of those particulars right there. But thank you for doing this for us. I will say, Teresa Stewart wrote what I was thinking when you were saying it. That website, the government website, is not the easiest to navigate. So thanks for the keywords that you did provide, because I go on the. I mean, we do this show, so I have to find a lot of information, and sometimes I'm there for like 10 minutes before I find close to what I'm looking for.
I'm going to be honest. What I tend to do first is I'll go on to Google and I'll put in the keywords into Google, and then I'll put Bermuda, and then something will
take you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a place where it's a lot of information. So yeah, a lot of different things will pop up. But thanks again, Minister Tinee Furbert. Look forward to having you back sometime.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Have a good day.
Carla, I think I'll see you on Saturday as well.
Oh yeah, nice to see you as well. Yeah, take care. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All righty. Thanks again to Minister Tinee Furbert. So we're going to have the movement moment. Important things right there, and a lot in what Tamara asked as well, because my question that I asked right before that was very similar about it's easy
preparing for aging population.
Yeah, but even to add to what she said, not just preparing for the aging population, but there are children that there are people with 3 children, 4 children, 5 children. When they get old, who's to say those children are going to take care of them? There's just so many places to go with this conversation. So really appreciate the participation from the audience. That said, we're going to have the it's People's the movement moment brought to you by People's right now, and then we'll come back. Don't go anywhere, because the daily play, it's if Carla doesn't get if she doesn't get this, we have every right to pick on her for the next 24 hours until she gets tomorrow's. How's that? Yeah,
it's a deal.
All right, movement moment here, folks.
Movement moment brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Together, we can illuminate your path to wellness.
Welcome to today's movement moment with Tamara Donnell, brought to you by People's. Tamara, what are we discussing today?
Hello, Jamal. Today, up for discussion is the endocannabinoid system. It seems like this month, big words are on the menu. What is the endocannabinoid system? I know we've talked ad nauseum in the press and in the government about cannabis, but we haven't spoken much about the endocannabinoid system. So the endocannabinoid system is a system within the body found in most mammals. It's made up of enzymes, lipids, which act as communicators, and CB1 and CB2 receptors. Your body makes natural cannabinoids, believe it or not. Even though all our lives, all we've ever talked about is cannabis, the plant, yes, your body makes actual cannabinoids, which plug into receptors on the endocannabinoid system. One of the most important cannabinoids that your body makes is something called anandamide that plugs into CB1 receptors. Not important all the technical details, but the important part is it helps to regulate your endocrine system and your nervous system. Two key systems, which many of you might have heard about for regulating many things within the body. Your endocannabinoid system controls some of the following things in your body. It controls your sleep, pain, memory. It controls your muscle temperature, controls your mood. It also controls inflammation, hunger, and energy. Now, you tell me, out of all of those things listed, which one is not important to you, and which one would you not want to have managed, balanced, and working optimally within your body? So the endocannabinoid system, I can assure you, is an integral part of a balanced, healthy lifestyle.
We're still in a space where, people hear cannabinoid and they're thinking cannabis, right? And despite the benefits of cannabis and how far we've come in the conversation, there are still people that will label cannabinoids and cannabis in a bad light. Are we, with information like what we're discussing today, are we heading to a place of understanding where people will start to see, no, this is not a bad thing. This is something that we should be looking at to monitor our state of health.
Thank you for tuning into this movement moment. To enjoy the benefits of the full episode, check us at Instagram at MVMT with Tamara Donnell or at People's BDA.
Really appreciate those conversations with Tamara. It's honestly, folks, go check the rest of that one. You can find it at People's BDA and at Movement MVMT with Tamara Donnell on Instagram. But check their IGTV. These are really, really cool episodes and a lot of information. So we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Trust me, call somebody up because Carla's going to get this one. You always going to be impressed with how fast she gets this daily play. Stick with us. Stick with us.
Tune in to the Full 100 Radio every Tuesday through Sunday at 7 p.m. Bermuda time as we bring you the love, romance, sexiness with nighttime jams. Only on your station for conversations and entertainment. The Full 100 Radio. Download the app available for Android and Apple devices.
All right, make sure you tune in. If you haven't already, download the Full 100 Radio app, tune into Nighttime Jams. And it doesn't have to be, you can do it alone if you don't have somebody or if you just
do what alone.
Relax alone.
Yeah.
Why you're going to, yeah, she's so nasty. But folks, here's the daily play. Today is a say it, don't sing it. And this is probably the easiest daily play Carla has had. Here we go. Help her out, folks. Quote, we don't even talk anymore, and we don't even know what we argue about. End quote.
Oh, I know that song. Hold on. I know this song. Oh my God. I know it, but I can't think of it. Say the words one more time for me.
She wants the words one more time.
It's Boys to Man. Is it? Say it again. Say the words. You know I'm rhythmic. I need rhythm.
Quote,
We don't talk anymore.
we don't even talk anymore, and we don't even know what we argue about. End quote.
The song is Writer. I just can't think of it. Oh, it is Boys to Men.
That, but no. What's the name of the song? Everybody knows it's Boys to Men. What's the name of the song?
See, I needed the rhythm. I got it.
But somebody
because I love you, baby. Yeah,
no, that's not it. It's we don't even talk anymore. We don't even know what we
argue about. I couldn't pick that part up, man. Thanks, Shayna. You know you're my girl.
So we gotta give you a.
I got it wrong.
That's what we're gonna give you, Carla.
People process different. I am rhythmic, so I like rhythm. I cannot process without
So
rhythm.
how come you don't use that excuse when you get it right? I ain't gave you no rhythm the last.
Because if I can hear it in my head, but I couldn't hear that one.
Well, someone else didn't because Christilda Glover actually said Superwoman.
Be your superwoman. Yes, I am.
Girl. Alicia Keys Superwoman or Karen White Superwoman? Because you went Alicia Keys. I thought first thing that
be a superwoman.
That's what I thought when she said it. I thought Karen White.
I'm versatile, you know.
Yeah, versatility and horrible singing. That is a goal of many. That is a goal of many. Shigarina, let's not wait till the date runs dry, she says. No, it's definitely water. We actually had Robert Durham said end of the line. I think
what's that?
End of the road.
Oh,
not the line. Carla making fun of you all like she knew what it was. Look at it. She's Karen White. See, I knew it. Carla.
I sang that part though.
She said she went straight Alicia Keys. She was talking about Karen White. It's me, Rosalind. Oh, she got a burner account.
Early in the morning.
Hold on, Rosalind. You have a burner account? What's this? It's me, Rosalind. What was Christilda Glover?
I knew. Sounds like a nighttime jams account.
I don't know. Did you just tell? No, you all know when it comes to a spell check mistake. What was it? Resource for them last week. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. Don't. Look, Robert, I didn't delete it in time. Oh, you all are great. You all are great. Look, another great episode. If you enjoyed today's episode with the minister, please give us a thumbs up, smash a like. Don't forget, as Mark Arthur C. Phillips says all the time, go on our YouTube page and show us the love. Trust me, Gary. The volume was about to go down because the audience doesn't deserve this, Gary. Trust me, they don't. Look, if you haven't already, look, I'm just put it's in the comments again. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel and smash a like. Make sure you like our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, and sign up for the notifications so that every time we go live, you are right there with us. We are going to be back tomorrow with the mayor of St. George's, George Dolan and Candy Dolan. Then on Friday, we'll be Candy Fogo, not Dolan, sorry. Yeah. And then Friday, we will be speaking about diversity and inclusion with a diversity and inclusion expert, Carla John. So if you know me and my challenges with diversity and inclusion, that's going to be an interesting one. Carla's going to give us some inspiration before we go. What's up, Carla?
You always have two choices. Your commitment versus your fear. Sammy Davis Jr.
Commitment versus fear. Are you? Look, let me. That's a great segue into James Burke's comment. Jamal needs saving right here, folks. Show me some love, please. Like, save me. Don't be like Gary Moreno, who is encouraging people to sink me. Don't be that person. Help save a brother.
Listen, Twitter fingers, FinTech, and lazy bed, sink him.
I've been very nice to their colleagues lately, so there's absolutely no reason, folks. It's for a good cause.
That's just stupid.
Part of that good cause is don't be like me. Don't be that person. Be better than me and save me from getting wet.
The best $10 you'll ever spend. Sink him.
Friends, how many of us have them? friends. Anyway, we've got to run. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, and Linda's for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Carla Zul. I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, see, I emphasize friends, right? Save a brother, but make it a great day. We're out. Peace.